How about that, huh? Getting a split in Wrigley, holding on for dear life. Man, probably took some years off our lives in that game right there, but God, that was such a must win on Thursday. We'll get to all that coming up next on this edition of Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Feeling always, and it's a bad one to have, anytime the Milwaukee Brewers hold on for dear life like that. It's like, thank God we didn't lose. That's just how I'm trained with the Milwaukee Brewers. Thank God. Thank God they didn't lose that one. What a swing that would have been. 8-3. I'm thinking they're comfortably up in front. I shouldn't feel that way, but man, I thought I was feeling pretty good. Up 8-3. We were recording Spectrum News One, our Brewers show with Dennis Krause and Jerry Augustine, a great show. I enjoyed it very much, but we're sitting there, game on the monitor, 8-3, feeling pretty good about it. Then I got in the car, put on my phone, and watched the rest of it, and in shotgun, and I could not believe it. Well, I could believe it because that's the way things go at Wrigley sometime. But again, thank God we didn't lose. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Locked On Brewers tonight is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers, you got to get $200, 200 big ones in bonus bets put into your account when your first $5 bet wins. That's at FanDuel. Yeah, the old thank God we didn't lose thing. Well, the Brewers earlier this year, remember they had that 4-0 lead in Arizona going into the bottom of the ninth inning, feeling real good there. And Arizona came roaring back and won that game. And that was out Trevor Megill. So the Brewers that thing is just unraveling today. And I am not feeling good about it. Uribe gives up, he's given up one run in his previous 23 outings. He gives up 2 in the 8th inning at Wrigley. And he's been great. He's been fantastic. He's been one of the best setup guys in baseball. Then we get to the 9th inning. Megill on 8-7, and he gives up a leadoff walk. And I know he's getting squeezed out there. If you look at the graph, yeah, that whole inning, he was getting squeezed. I don't know what MLB had in store for the Brewers today, but my goodness, the Brewers are playing against like 13 guys, the Cubs and the umpires as well. They found a way to get it done, though. Megill, I felt like he had to get like 6 outs there in that bottom of the 9th inning. But they find a way on a double play ball to end the game after that leadoff walk with Crow Armstrong, and he is going to be a pain to deal with in years to come. He's got 5 home runs against the Brewers this year already, 20 on the season, and he had another one in the first inning off Peralta. But they won the game. You lose that game, you're 7.5 out going into Minnesota. Not only are you 7.5 out, but you're sitting there thinking, God, we just got beat by the Cubs and just blew an 8-3 lead. How do you come back from a loss like that? How do you come back? What a big swing from being 5.5 out. Sounds so much better than 7.5. 7.5, boy, you're really second guessing yourself at that point. Thank God. Like I said, thank God they didn't lose. 5.5 in a second place tie. Right now, the Brewers are with the St. Louis Cardinals, with Cincinnati 6.5 out. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But yeah, that was important that you didn't want to get swept in Chicago. And it turned out to be a 2-game series because of Wednesday's rain out. Well, it was a legit rain out. We'll talk about that later on as well. But, Uribe giving up the 2 runs in the 8th inning, and I'm like, oh my God, the baseball gods are not on our side today. Then in the 9th, Megill getting squeezed, walks the leadoff hitter. But Suzuki bounces into that double play to end out the game. And wow, the Brewers get it done. Megill to save. And I know some of you guys out there are teetering on Megill and your confidence in Megill. He still has got the job done. Yeah, he's walking us down that path that Devin Williams did last year, but I'm not really to be done with Megill by any means. He's only blown 2 saves this year, so he's pitched pretty good. All right, but I see a lot of negativity to Trevor Megill. Again, we're not talking about a guy who's a veteran closer. All right, taking over for Devin Williams, closed last year, did a nice job. He was 20 of 22 last year. So yeah, Megill hasn't, it's not, he's been much better than Devin Williams has been in New York, right? Even though there's been some scary moments, but these closers, we can't expect them to come out and just be perfect. And Sunday, yeah, first 2 guys get on top of the 9th inning, and then Megill strikes out the side to get the victory. So yeah, he's done a few Trevor Megill experiences out there, but still I love that combination of Uribe and Megill. 8-9. Now, I didn't like Uribe the way he was going today a little bit, but still, I'll take it. And Megill, he got the job done. Got the double play ball there at the end. And the Brewers, 3 home runs. I said going into this series, the Brewers are going to have to score some runs to win a game. And they did. They scored 8 runs. Isaac Collins. And how big has that guy been? Guy nobody even counted on coming out of spring training. 3-run home run proved to be the difference in this game. 2 home runs in this series. Isaac Collins, of all people, probably shouldn't even make the team. Okay? He makes the team because probably Blake Perkins, the injury, right? Isaac Collins makes this team. Otherwise, if Blake Collins is healthy, Ike Collins could be in somebody's farm system or playing with the Chicago White Sox where all the rest of the Milwaukee Brewers go. But he has saved them a lot. Now, am I willing to give Isaac Collins a long-term contract and annoying him as my starting left fielder every game? No. He's having a nice year for somebody. He's having a nice year for a guy we're not expecting a lot out of, right? There's guys in this team we're expecting a lot out of. Hoskins, Contreras, Yelich. And there's guys like Isaac Collins. So anytime he does anything, we're like, wow, look at that Isaac Collins. So yeah, Isaac Collins, keep doing what you're doing. But I'm not giving you that starting left field spot going forward. All right. I still think Jake Bauer should start out there. But Isaac Collins came through for them in a big way. 2-run home run on Tuesday, and then the 3-run home run, the difference maker, on Wednesday. So we'll take us some Ike Collins. That Pete Crow Armstrong, boy, as I said, he was on deck when Suzuki bounces into that double play. I could only imagine what would have happened if he would have got to the plate. Didn't want to see that at all. And it looked like he was going to get up regardless, but then Suzuki bounces in that game-ending double play, and we don't have to see Pete Crow Armstrong, the talk of Chicago. Freddie Peralta, 5 innings, 2 hits, 6 Ks, an up-and-down performance from him. 2 hits, gives up that first-inning home run to Crow Armstrong, but Freddie's got to go longer than 5 innings. He just has to. Got to go longer than 5 innings, especially at Wrigley. You put all the stress on that bullpen. Bullpen gets it done. Augie and I on Spectrum News 1, along with Dennis Krause. Augie today said the Brewers got the best bullpen in baseball. And he is right. Best bullpen in baseball. And one of the best, I doubled down and I said, not only that, I think they got one of the best starting rotations in baseball. Yeah, they don't have the dollar signs out there for that rotation, but man, that rotation just keeps getting the job done. Yeah, Freddie can go a little longer, and I wish some of these guys did, but still, all in all, that pitching staff has been phenomenal, and that's the reason why the Brewers are only 5.5 games out. Only 5.5 games out. 5 games over the 500 mark at 40-35. It could be a lot worse. And we've talked about the numbers of some of these guys who aren't pulling their weight in this team. We've done podcasts on that already as well. They didn't play 3 games at Wrigley, and Wednesday it was Shannon's birthday. So we were driving to a place for her birthday and a place that's going to have the Brewer game on as well. So we went early. Now, just in case they didn't have it on, we were going to get home in plenty of time. But, we're ordering our drumsticks, and she's getting the ribs, and I'm getting the chicken sandwich, and we're there with some friends. And then I get the little alert on my phone. The game has been rained out. Now, I'm not watching. It's raining in Wisconsin, but I'm not watching. I'm thinking, my first reaction when the Brewers were rained out on Wednesday was it another fake rain out by the Cubs. Remember that one in 2017 when the Brewers were on a roll? And I believe that Giovanni was going to pitch in 2017, or I forgot who it was. But all of a sudden there was the Brewers game got rained out when it wasn't even raining. And it didn't rain until after the game. Just a weird thing. And I thought the same thing. I thought, well, the Cubs are facing the Mizorowski on Wednesday. They sure called that one quick. They didn't wait at all. And it turned out, it was a rain out. It was a washout. Continued to rain. But again, I was like, did counsel tell the front office there? Because counsel, when he was managing the Brewers at the time, he said the Cubs need a new weather app. You guys remember that, right? That rain out, it was a Saturday afternoon, and also the Brewers were rained out. It was sunny skies out too. Rained out? And counsel said on Sunday, the next day, the Cubs need a new weather app. So I wonder if Craig went to the weather guy at Wrigley Field and said, hey, remember back in 2017 or so, you had that rain out against us. Think you can forecast some more rain? We don't want to face Mizorowski. Can he do that for us? But it turns out the Cubs are probably glad they didn't have to face Miz. But we're going to see him Friday night against the Twins. We'll talk more about that coming up here in a little bit. By the way, people have asked me, and I'm going to throw this in real quick. Is there anybody you're interested in the Brewers trading for? And I'm going to throw one name off. One name I've seen that I like. I'm not bowled over by this guy, but it sounds like he's going to a bunch of different teams. I think he'd fit in right here. We'll talk about that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Wonderful Pistachios. Let's talk about that right now. Today I did. Today I ran. Today's a Thursday. Well, Thursday night now, but earlier in the day, got my run in, came back, dumped the Wonderful Pistachios into the yogurt, and I was good to go. Wonderful Pistachios, the highest protein nuts out there. Each 1 ounce serving 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats, keep you feeling fuller longer. How about those no-shell varieties? We all like that as well. Perfect grab-and-go snack. If you're heading out the door, grabbing stuff, grab the no-shells variety as well. Get snacking, get cracking with the nut that has each 1 ounce serving 6 grams of protein. So what you get here, you get 9 essential amino acids, all the things that keep you feeling fuller, healthier, longer. Especially if you're working out, that's what you want. Whether you're a workout artist or not, man, this is the way you got to go. Get snacking, get cracking. Visit their website. They'll tell you all about it. WonderfulPistachios.com. WonderfulPistachios.com. Learn more about what a protein punch it is. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. By the way, let me take this moment real quick here to tell you where our podcast is, because we're on a lot of different places. If you're watching us on YouTube, we're also on the audio platforms. You can get us on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your audio podcast, or wherever I assume everybody does it these days. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I assume a lot of people download podcasts. You can get them on all the audio platforms. Locked On Brewers is on all of them. We're on all of them because we're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet. So if you, on YouTube, you want to see the audio, you want to hear us on audio, you're getting in the car, set an alert, and please subscribe on whatever audio platform you use for your podcast. And if you're on the audio platform, you want to come into our beautiful television studio here, our Locked On Brewers studio with the sports, the Brewers memorabilia out and back, love to have you. Go to our YouTube page. First of all, go to YouTube. Make sure you're signed in. Hit Locked On Brewers. Search Locked On Brewers. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell that alerts you every time we drop an episode on Locked On Brewers. We're trying to push for 5,000 subs, and can only do it with you guys right there. The guy who I want to see would add some pop to this team is Cedric Mullins of the Baltimore Orioles. Now, he's going to become a free agent. Brewers are 25th in home runs. They're 28th in slugging. They need some power. And I'm not saying Cedric Mullins of the Baltimore Orioles. I'm not saying that guy's Eddie Murray. Okay. But I think he's a guy, an outfielder, a left fielder who could help us. He could help the Brewers. I say us. Help the Brewers, right? In left field. And I just was hyping up Isaac Collins, but Cedric Mullins, his numbers aren't great. 231. He's got the 12 home runs. I'd love to see him at AmFam Field. I like his game. He was better. He was better a few years ago. I believe he had 30 bombs, 4 years ago? The numbers are down a little bit, but I've seen this guy go to all the major markets. Wouldn't mind getting in. I'm not willing to give the farm away for Cedric Mullins of the Orioles. But the Orioles are definitely sellers, right? They weren't supposed to be coming into the season, but they are. But that's one guy, just kind of scanning some of the players who might be available. And of course, none of the insiders on there have the Brewer. They have the Brewers selling to begin with. They're predicting a slide for the Brewers. I don't know. I'm not thinking sellers. I'm thinking buying with the Brewers and Mullins. God, it just feels weird that we got to wait like a month and a half, 5 weeks or so for the trading deadline. But if the Brewers are going to do something, as I said the other day, they have to do something immediately. I want to shout out to one of our loyal podcast listeners out there. And by the way, you can also find me on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND. Hit me up there. DM me anytime you want. I will get back to you. I promise I will. Or you hit me up on Facebook as well, Chuck Freeman. Hey, like I said the other day, I'm not like that. I don't just think Facebook is for my friends only. We're all friends, man. We're in this Brewer community. So feel free to Facebook friend me. Mike Radomski says, always has some thoughtful things. He messages me on Facebook. He says, you are the official Yelich whisperer. Every time you have been on him this year on Locked On Brewers, he comes back with a series of really good games. Honestly, I think you should have been the recipient of the Player of the Week award a few weeks ago. Man, with your comments, Mike Radomski, you are my favorite Locked On Brewers viewer. How about that? At least for right now. But I appreciate the comments. Yeah, there's a few guys in that team who got to pick it up. And Yelich has got to get going again. I know he got the team on the board on Thursday with that base hit, but want to see more of Yelich producing. Big series coming up with Minnesota. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. One more thing, the Brewers did announce, hard to believe, 25 years at AmFam Field. Miller Park before that, but the Brewers this year are celebrating 25 years of AmFam Park, AmFam Field. There are still people who say the new ballpark, the Brewers' new ballpark. I'm like, 25 years, man. It's still in pretty good shape. AmFam Field is, except for the sound system. They just refuse to fix the sound system. They'll get a new scoreboards. They'll get a new seats. They'll get a new railings. They'll bring in new food. They'll change the restaurant in left field 1,500 times. But ask them to fix that lousy sound system. We're at the game on Sunday, sitting behind home plate, 14th row back. And there was some contests that they were doing, and you could not understand. And me and the guy next to me, I said, did you understand what they were talking about? You can't hear them. It's like the old county stadium. I feel like in Milwaukee, whether it's county stadium or AmFam Field, somehow the speakers that we buy for this thing are terrible. I don't know if we're getting them on the discount rack or whatever, but the speakers that are at AmFam Field, that sound system is atrocious. Fix the sound system, for crying out loud. Please. It's the worst in sports. The worst I've ever heard. So anyway, they're celebrating the 25th anniversary with a home run derby coming up on the 25th of July. Among the Brewers, former Brewers participating, Braun, Gomez, Gallardo, Morgan, Hart, McGee, and Thames. And I was like, how come Prince Fielder's not on this list? Did you see on Twitter? Look after the show. Fielder was taking part in some East-West home run derby, and he crushed one and did a bat flip. And I'm like, Prince looks in great shape. Man, you know, he had to leave the game early because of the neck injury. But my goodness. I know it was a batting practice, but he turned on one. I was like, man, sure could use some of that on this year's team. But at the very least, the alumni home run derby, and Gallardo's in it, who hit 12 home runs in his career. Maybe, why isn't Prince in this thing? Why isn't Fielder involved in this? So, all right, we come back. We'll talk about the Twins series. We had a quick break. We're going to come right back. We'll talk about the Twins series coming up. The Twins are sliding a little bit from how they were playing when the Brewers last saw them. We'll get to that coming up next year on Locked On Brewers. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Oh, who didn't have the Pacers on Thursday night getting the 6.5 points at home? God, that was a gift. And it was a rocking chair game too. Well, I would have thought that the Brewers game was a rocking chair game when it went 8-3. They were minus 4,000 at one point on the live line, but FanDuel's got the live line in. The NBA playoffs are coming right down to the end with a Game 7 on Sunday. Get in on all the action on FanDuel. And Major League Baseball season, man, get in on the live betting on that. The live betting is great. Like I said, I looked on there today. Brewers minus 4,000, and 4,000, 3,000, 2,000. And at one point in the ninth inning, when the Cubs got the leadoff man aboard in the ninth, the Brewers went from minus 4,000 to a plus 105 underdog. And then the Brewers got the first out. They went to minus 400, and then they got the game-ending double play. But still, FanDuel. I digress. FanDuel. Here's the deal with FanDuel. Head to FanDuel.com. Place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And get in on Game 7 coming up. You might be able to find yourself a good money line if you like OKC at home in Game 7. And who doesn't like the home team in Game 7? If the Pacers get an early lead, get the live betting on FanDuel. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. All right. Remember the last time the Brewers faced the Twins? They came in here with a long winning streak, and the Brewers were able to end that winning streak. The Twins had a 13-game winning streak ended by the Brewers. Twins still took 2 of 3 in Milwaukee. Now the Brewers go to Minnesota for their rivalry series against the Twins. And again, this is only a rivalry between Milwaukee and Minnesota for those fans in the northwestern part of the state, by Eau Claire, that area, beautiful area, La Crosse, which is southwestern. But yeah, a lot of Twins fans out there, And this is where it's a rivalry between the Brewers and Twins. To those fans out there, because you have, like I could say for experience, when I lived in Eau Claire, there were a lot of Twins fans. In fact, there was a radio station in Eau Claire that was carrying Twins games at the time. So the Twins are 37-37, and they went on that winning streak. They were amazing. They have fallen, though. They've gone, I think, since the Brewers have played them, since the Brewers ended their 13-game winning streak, the Twins are 10-17. So they have gone in the wrong direction. They are 37-37, 10 games out behind the Detroit Tigers, who are running away with things in the American League Central. But the Twins are very much alive in the wild card. They're only a game out. So big series coming up. Mizorowski, Quintana, and Priester on the hill for Milwaukee. The Brewers are facing, of the three guys, their best pitcher, Joe Ryan, on Friday night. Guy averages about a strikeout an inning, 7-2 on the season. On Saturday, Woods Richardson is pitching. He's got an ERA of over 5, and David Festa goes on Sunday. So I like the pitching matchups in favor of the Brewers. Got to keep Brian Buxton down. He's got 15 homers to lead the way. And by the way, checking on the wild card, the Brewers right now in a tie for that third wild card spot with San Diego and the Cardinals. Right? Doug Russell, I still remember what he said a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. He said, yeah, you can't look at the wild card. You got to look at the division yet. Yeah, I agree. But still, I keep an eye on the wild card too. And if the Brewers would have fell 7.5 behind the Cubs, they would have lost on Thursday. And thank God they didn't. I've been looking a little bit more at the wild card, but I took a peek at it today. And in a tie for that last wild card spot with San Diego and St. Louis. Brewers 5.5 out in the division, and they move on to Minnesota before coming home, and they take on the Pirates next week at AmFam Field. Anything else I was going to throw at you here? Murphy was talking about the Miz. Why he didn't pitch on Thursday, because they went to Peralta. He said, Mizorowski, he's got a little bit of it. He said, well, he's also got a little bit of an injury. Still has been taping up that ankle. Remember, he had that little bit of a stumble in the 6th inning of his major league debut last week. So sounds like he's still taping up that ankle. Who is going to get the first hit off Miz for his career? Or is Miz going to go out there and give him 6 strong again? 5 strong his last outing, 6 strong maybe this time. All right, everybody. We'll have some instant reaction later on this weekend after some of the games. And thanks for joining us on the Friday edition of Locked On Brewers. Good to have you along as always. You get us on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your podcasts, and YouTube. We're the #1 Brewer podcast on the internet. Thank you very much, everybody. Have yourself a great weekend. This is Chuck Freeman. Thanks for making us your first listen on Locked On Brewers.